Okay, so this is my no-nonsense guide on how to solve the Rubik's Cube. If you're a complete beginner, this is the guide for you. This guide will teach you how to solve it, and it will also teach you in a way that if you want to learn the speed solve it, it's a lot easier to transition than the regular beginner method. Still, this method does require some memorization, a little more than the basic method, but it's nothing that you can't handle. I did it, that's how I learned with this method, and yeah. Let's get right into it. So the first thing you need to note is that the centerpieces never move. That is, orange is always beside green, green is beside yellow, green is opposite of blue, and no matter how much I scramble my cube, you'll notice that these consistencies don't change. Green's still opposite of blue, green, you can see that's the same as it was when it was solved. Because these centers never move, when we do algorithms, which I'll show you in a second, you're going to always keep the face that you start the algorithm with in front of you, and that face is defined by the centerpiece. So if you start an algorithm with the orange in the center, you should end the algorithm with the orange still in the center. The second thing you should know is the actual notation for the algorithms. So when I do an algorithm, I'll pop it up right on the screen right here, and you'll have to know what these letters mean. So when I refer to an algorithm, whatever face you are working on, keeping it in front the entire time you do the algorithm, it can mean the following: up, down, right, left, front, back. And these notations are done in a form that is either clockwise or counterclockwise to each face. So when you see F, this is going to be your move because this is clockwise. When you see F prime, that's what that little dash after it, it's this, counterclockwise. So clockwise, counterclockwise. And same for the right, left, up, down, and back. They're all counterclockwise or clockwise relative to their face. So right would look like this, right prime would be this, but left will look like this, and left prime will look like this. You see how they're kind of opposites? That's because if we look at that face, they're still going clockwise or counterclockwise. With all that in mind, an algorithm, such as this one, would look like this when executed. And that's basically it. When I say an algorithm and I put it up here, it'll always be up here. That's the algorithm I'm doing with my hands, and you should just try to follow me. Moving on to the first actual step now, we have to make the white cross on the white side. So we know the white side is the one with the white centerpiece. I have a little logo here, but this is my white centerpiece. Our white cross has to match each of the individual centerpieces that are adjacent to that white centerpiece. So this corner piece will have to be white and red. This corner would need to be white and green, and so on. A false cross would look like this one right here, where the colors don't quite match. We got the white cross, but the colors don't match at the actual centers. So to do that, we're going to have to kind of intuitively figure out, just through messing with the cube, how we could get those pieces there. I'll show a few examples right here of me getting the pieces into the proper spots, but if you're having a hard time, unfortunately, this is basically the one step that there isn't some sort of trick to get to it. Just takes trial and error, or just follow my steps and you'll see how I do it. So solving with my white cross on top, I see my blue and white piece here. So since it's the first piece, I'm just going to insert it anywhere on the top. So to get that, it's already up here. I just got to flip it. So I could go like this and this. There we go. If it was somewhere else, I could just move it and boom. But in this case, it's blue. Now I have to preserve this when getting the other cross pieces. Now I'm going to look. I see my red one here. And I know my red is going to be to my left of blue with white on top. And remember that these center pieces never change. So we can always remember that orientation. So if my red's to the left of blue, I could just move my blue to the right in this scenario. And pull that up. May not be solved yet, but if I reverse it back, there we go. I've got two edge pieces set up for my cross. Looking for my next one now. I see orange right here. I know orange is opposite of red. You could always remind yourself just by looking at the centerpieces. So I see that my orange is opposite of red. And so to do that, set up my cross for that, I'm going to go like this. And then fix my cross again. There we go. Got my orange, blue, and red. Now I see my green, which is right at the bottom. Then to do this, I just need the green right here. So I'll bring it to the bottom, opposite of where it's got to go since the white's on the bottom, and just bring it up. And there we go. That's my cross. If you have a situation where the cross piece you're looking for is kind of in a spot like this, where we can't just 180 it up, we could do a mixture of the two, where we first we find where it goes. So it's a green and white. So my green and white is right here, so I want it here. So I will first bring it up like this, right? And now that I put it under a spot where there is no white piece, so I don't mess it up. And then I'm going, now it looks like a regular one, like the ones we saw earlier. So I'll bring it up, fix my cross, and there we go. That's solved. Let's find my red piece, I think it is. Yeah, my red. Oh, my red's in the spot. In a situation like this, you'll just want to bring it down, rotate. Now it looks like something we've worked with. Fix it up, and fix the cross. There we go. The white cross is done. We got these, but these don't count. We ignore these for later. There we go. That's step 1 done. Step 2 is getting these corner pieces correct. Much like solving the cross, we have to get them to the correct face. So you see the two top corner pieces that we got here are actually in the wrong spot. Right here, we'd want the white, red, and green piece, but we got the white, red, and blue piece. And same for here. This is all messed up. So I'm going to show you how to actually insert these with our first algorithm. First thing you're going to do is find the corner piece you want. I see this one right here. This looks pretty good. So this is my white, blue, and orange piece. And now I'm going to bring it right under my white, blue, and orange corner, which I think, there it is. My white. So I need to bring this right up here. So to insert something right above it, if it's on the right hand side, so we can see this is the front of my cube, these two, which I want to put this here and facing up, is on the right hand side of the cube. We could do the following algorithm until it is solved. If it doesn't work first try, you just keep running this algorithm. If you feel like you've done it quite a few times and it hasn't solved, it's probably because you messed up the algorithm at some point, and you'll need to just redo it. There's going to be a lot of resolves when you're solving a Rubik's Cube for the first time. You probably will mess up many times, and that is okay. So I'm going to insert it with this algorithm. And that worked first try, so that's pretty lucky. Let's find our next piece. Looking for the next piece in this situation, we notice that all our pieces are actually up here, just in the wrong orientation, other than the one that we just solved. To do this, we're just going to take out the piece, put it down here so we can actually work with it. And that's going to be the exact same algorithm that we inserted just a moment ago. And this time we only have to do it once. That's all it will take to get it to the bottom. So let's take this one for example. I'm going to get this down here so I can work with it. So I'm just going to do the algorithm. And there we go. The piece is now down here and I can actually work with it. Let's get it over to the side it needs to be on. There we go. So it needs to come right here, and we got to bring it up right into there with the white on top. So we will just do that algorithm again. Now you'll notice that it's up here now, but it's not in the right orientation. This is what I mean by repeating the algorithm multiple times. So if we continue multiple times, it may take a few. I see that we have it. It will eventually solve. Now I've got this piece down here. Let's get this right under the proper corner. There we go. I'll do the algorithm again. That one worked first try. I see this piece is up here. I got to get down here so I can work with it. There we go. Now I'll just insert it. And there we go. That's the top layer solved. Before we move on to the next step and have the solved layer, I'm going to show you one alternate possibility or one alternate way you could go about solving this. If you notice that the piece is facing the direction you're working with, it will go in one move. So with that logic, if we change it to the left and we see that the piece is now facing the direction I'm working with, we can insert it up here. To do that, we're just going to do the exact opposite of the algorithm we just learned, which is right up here. You don't ever have to use this, but it can make your solves faster. Learning it could be helpful to learn that algorithms can be mirrored to provide the same solution on the other side. So for this one, an example would be there we go. Now you could always do that by just facing the right side and doing the algorithm multiple times, as I said. But if you want to learn the left-hand side too, you can. Or maybe you're just left-handed and you prefer the left-hand side. Anyway, that's perfectly fine. And that's it. We can move on to the next step now. Moving on to this next step now, we're going to solve the second layer of the cube, which is the spots in between the center pieces right above the white layer that we just solved. To do that, we're first going to find the piece that we need. So I see the red and blue piece right here. So I'm going to take this to the red and blue side. Now you're going to line it up with the side that the bottom half is facing. So if the blue half was facing here, you'd take it over here. In this situation, I have the red. So depending on what side you're inserting it on, you're going to do a different algorithm. This is the left algorithm because we're inserting it to the left. For that, you're going to move to the color that it's not lined up with. So we got the red blue and it's lined up with red. So we'll go to the blue and you're going to do the following algorithm. And that solves that. Looking for another piece as an example, we see the, I'm going to use this one. And we'll also insert that on the left side. So this is the red and green piece. So we'll do the same algorithm. Perfect. Now we got two solved. Let's take a look at this one. Ooh, okay. So in this situation, we're inserting to the right side. To insert to the right side, we're going to do the same thing, but mirrored. Much like the last step, you can mirror the algorithm to provide the opposite result for the other side. So in this example, I'm going to turn to the orange and do this algorithm. And there we go. Looking for my last piece now. We see this right here. It's going to be the blue and orange piece. And I see it right here, so I'll bring it over. Matches up with the blue, so I'm going to work with my orange. We're inserting to the left here, so we'll do this algorithm. And there we go. We can move on to the next step right after I show you this next case. Say there's a scenario where you have to get the piece out of there so you can either reorient it or move it to another side. Say the red and green piece was over here. We'd want to take it out and move it to here. But in this scenario, I just need to flip this. For that, it's going to work much like the last one, where we just do the algorithm once to take the piece out, and then we just solve it from there. Get it on our working layer first. So for this, I'm just going to pick any random piece. Let's do this one. I'm going to insert to the left. So I'll face here and let's do this algorithm. And there we go. Now I got it onto the working layer. So not here. That'll work. So let's work with it there. We'll do the algorithm again. And there we go. Now we can actually move on to the next step. For this next step, our goal is to make a yellow cross on this layer now. So we're just focusing on these top pieces. When you have finished the previous step, there are a few possibilities. One is that you have a dot, much like me. Two is that you have a piece here or here in any situation. So it could be here or here, here or here. Looks like that. Three is you have a line, much like that. And four, you have the cross already solved. Now, there could be corner pieces as well, flipped, facing up. Those we're going to ignore. We are only focusing on these four pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doing that, we're going to do this same algorithm in this order. So you see the image right on top. We're going to go from each of those phases to the next using this algorithm. I'll show that right now. Then I'm going to orient it in the way that the phase is indicated and do it again. Got my line. One more time. And there we go. We got my white cross. We're ignoring these pieces. I see I got my white cross. From there, we can move on to the next step. Our next step, there are a few different possibilities. Our goal is to flip these yellows and make them face up, so facing towards us. You could get the following, I have them all on screen, different orientations, excluding the solved state. Our goal is to get the goldfish pattern. We're going to learn one algorithm, and that's it for this step. Doing that, we also have to memorize which way we need to face each of these few possibilities. If you cannot memorize them during a solve, you can always trial and error this step, because if you put it the wrong direction, it doesn't actually mess up the cross. You can always just restart from this step. So now I'm going to show from every single one of these possibilities what you have to do. The first possibility, this one, is that you get headlights, as what we're going to call them, on both sides, so facing the same direction. You're going to want to put those headlights facing right and left and do the algorithm. The algorithm is right here and is always going to be the same for this step. So and there we go. Now we got the goldfish. From the goldfish, we're going to just do that algorithm again. We may have to do this 2 times. It's depending on what kind of goldfish you get. A goldfish will always lead to a goldfish. So you could just do the same algorithm again. We're always going to make the goldfish face the bottom left and do the algorithm again. And there we go. Now I'm going to move through the other possibilities. For this next case, where we have one set of headlights and the other set are not really headlights, they're kind of just facing both ways, we're going to put the headlights facing to the left and do the algorithm again. We see get the goldfish again, and you'll just do the goldfish algorithm again. So you get the following situation where we have these two flipped already, and then these two are headlights. We're going to face this, the headlights facing towards us, and do the algorithm again. There we go. And then we would just do the goldfish algorithm. And we may notice we get goldfish again. If we do, we just face it towards that bottom left corner and do it again. So you get this case where there are no headlights, they're just flipped over, and we got the two already flipped. We're going to face this to the left, this empty spot to the left, sorry, with the pointer facing that way, and do the algorithm. And then do what you already know for the goldfish. There we go. And finally, our final case is that we have these two flipped diagonal to each other, and these two are not flipped. If they're not flipped, we're going to see that they kind of just both point in these directions. There's not going to be a situation where this is pointing here and this is pointing back. That's impossible unless you've turned a corner. So making this side, the left side, face us. So we notice that the left side doesn't face us here. We need a left side with the yellow facing us, which is this one right here. We're going to do the algorithm in this orientation. I got goldfish. And I got goldfish again. And there we go. Now we're all good to move on to the next step. In this next step, we are looking for a set of headlights of any color. So I don't see a set here or here, but I do see a set here. You will either have one set of headlights or zero. First, if you have a set of headlights, you're going to put those headlights at the back relative to you, matching with their color. So not this, this. And you're going to do the following algorithm. A little complicated, so I'll go slow, but this is how it's done. And that will give us our final step. In a situation where you do not have a single set of headlights on the cube, all you will do is pick a random side, doesn't matter, I will do it from this side, and do that algorithm again. And now you'll notice that I have a set of headlights right here. Ignoring this centerpiece, it's just a bar, but we got the headlights. So putting those headlights at the back and doing the algorithm again. We've got the final step. In this final step, you'll have two possibilities. One is that you have 3 unsolved pieces, or you have 4 with this back one being unsolved. In the scenario that you have 3 unsolved cases, you're going to put the solved case at the back and do this. You may notice that it doesn't solve it right away. So you'll do the same thing, putting the solved case at the back and doing that algorithm one more time. And there we go. In the scenario that you didn't have a side solved, such as this one, where there are no full bars, we're going to just choose an arbitrary side and do that algorithm again. There we go. I see it's solved this side. So we'll put that side to the back and do the algorithm one more time. And there we go. Now your cube is solved. If you guys are interested in seeing any more videos like this or learning how to solve more various and different types of cubes, please let me know in the comments below. And that's about it for the video. Thank you for watching, and good luck solving.